For quite some time when I was a kid, I was certain I wanted to be an archaeologist. From Indiana Jones, the only representation of it I had, the job seemed to involve traveling the globe, carrying a gun and whip, making out with other attractive archaeologists / lounge singers / Karen Allen, and teaching the occasional class at the university level. At its heart, though, the appeal was rooted in the thrill of discovery and adventure. Why anyone would aspire to join any other field was actually beyond me. Then when I was 10, a real archaeologist came to look for the remains of a colonial meeting house that was supposedly once standing in our backyard. He looked a lot like Richard Attenborough. He was old and kind of heavy and wore a utility vest. No gun, no whip. He spent a few weeks digging behind our patio with a trowel, finding some old glass and a handful of rusty nails. After that, I turned my future ambitions elsewhere. Since arriving here in Jordan, though, that long-dormant romantic spirit of what I called archaeology was reawakened. This is my first time in the Middle East, and besides being blown away by the heat and hospitality of the people here, there's something very real and powerful about the antiquity of the place. Not only is it old, it's the stuff of myth. This is the mountain from which Moses viewed the Promised Land, or the river where Jesus was baptized, the tombs of Muhammad's companions. Jordan's more than intriguing, it's almost mysterious. While the influence of the West is inevitably extended here, it's the first site I visited that truly feels like a different culture. On Tuesday, I drove into the desert to visit Petra. My driver and I walked through the sun and this canyon and ended up here. Standing before this treasury, which is hewn into a wall of sandstone, is staggering, in part because I recognize it from film. And it's hard to separate experience from the emotional memory I bring to it, but I'd like to believe that what I really felt staring up at that structure 150 feet high and half as old as time was simply awe. And despite being surrounded by troves of tourists wrapped in newly purchased imitation headscarves and buying vials of painted sand, I got for the first time in a while the rush of discovery. I mean, yeah, some Swiss guy actually found the place in 1812, but that's not really the point. Harrison Ford conjectured that the reason people are drawn to Indiana Jones is because he's an academic and an adventurer. Much like, at the risk of sounding dramatic, most of the students here actually are. Trying to process this place is an act of discovery. It takes the commitment to learning a language that has essentially nothing in common with their own, and traveling to a country halfway around the earth to do it. And it might not involve a whip, but seeking out and trying to understand another world and your place in it, well, as far as an Indiana Jones type escapade goes, it might be as close as you're gonna get.